Today we're going to discuss the announcement by Trump that the use of Panadol, essentially, in America, they call it Tylenol, has been associated with increased risk of developing autism in the baby. In the second half of this video, we'll look at the announcement by the USA today that the pharmaceutical industry, the products coming into the USA will have 100% tariff on them. Okay, let's get into it.
A questionable warning and, frankly, directive from President Trump just moments ago, as well as his top health officials from the White House. The president saying, quote, Tylenol is not good, don't take it. For a little bit more of what we are hearing on these announcements, let's listen.
Effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol during pregnancy, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism.
Okay, as a father of a child who has autism, I'm very grateful that they are taking this seriously and looking into trying to find a specific cause for the massive increase in autism prevalence in the Western world. And so it's really good to see that they've actually done an investigation. They've got the report, and here Trump is making a quick, decisive decision to announce this with the hope of reducing the numbers of people who are born with autism, to save the suffering for the children for their entire lives, to save the suffering for the carers, and the parents, and also the drain of resources for the community to deal with so many people with high needs. So I'm grateful. I understand that it's a process, but they've done an investigation, they've seen there's an association, so let's enact it. And he's done that immediately. So I think that's good.
So taking Tylenol is not good.
The president there just moments ago, as you heard him, alongside him, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as well as CMS Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz and others, all claiming as well there is a link that they say they have found between autism in children and the pain reliever acetaminophen, of course known as Tylenol by its brand name, when used during pregnancy. Now, let's reset here with the facts of what we do know and the science. Acetaminophen is currently considered the safest pain relief option for pregnant women. Administration officials now are advising women, however, not to use it early in pregnancy unless they have a high fever. The health secretary saying that at this point there are no other options, so that doctors should still use their best judgment, but then went on to warn that they believed as well that this was associated with potential liver toxicity, even claiming it could prolong viral illnesses in children. The administration, as part of this announcement today.
Okay, so if you're a woman today and you're pregnant, wouldn't you be very happy to get this information? They tell you not to drink and not to smoke to not affect your baby. And now they're telling you one more thing to increase the chances of having a healthy baby for their entire life and to save you from the burden of being a carer for your entire life. So pregnant women today, I think, would be, wow, that's good information. Thank you very much. I will deal with these other sicknesses and discomforts of the pregnancy in other ways. If I have a high fever, I can still take the Panadol or Tylenol. But if I have a chance of increasing the chance of my baby's health by not taking Panadol for everything, I would imagine that most women would be grateful for that information, knowing that they're increasing the chances of having a healthy child. So that's really good information.
Today is also saying that folinic acid, that's a supplement, also you may know it as leucovorin, is a way to decrease the symptoms of autism. Secretary Kennedy has, of course, previously promoted debunked theories which link.
Wow, if there's a medication that can help my son speak and communicate effectively, let's try it. Trump and this administration, they're trying to improve lives. Why is the media and the medical establishments standing in their way? They're not saying these things will definitely work or we know 100% about them, but can we not just try them and give them a go? It would make such a difference to so many people's lives.
vaccines to autism. And he was just bringing that up again moments ago as we were coming on the air here at the top of the hour. The secretary, and just pardon me as I look at my notes here, noting that they are now investigating, in his words, multiple areas of causation when it comes to vaccines. He claims that 40 to 60% of mothers who have children with autism believe that there is some link to a vaccination. The secretary also.
Okay, they've gone off into another area now about people who think vaccinations have a link to causing autism. And I know a lot of people and even medical professionals who don't vaccinate their children because they believe there's a link. I have my own story about that as well, although I don't 100% know and I don't push people either way. But is it not worth looking into? Some people might have a makeup that is more more susceptible to triggering autism in them, and it's just information that we need to get to the bottom of rather than to make them look like conspiracy theorists or people out there. They're just looking for answers to try and give people the best opportunity at life.
Also claiming that these women have been gaslit, he says, by the science, which has found that there is in fact not a connection between vaccines and autism. But he is saying now that this is something that he has directed his agencies to look into. Again, he has promoted these theories linking vaccines to autism for some time. You may recall back in April, he pledged that his agency would have answers on the causes of autism this month. He said we would know in September. This announcement already sparking a lot of pushback from medical experts. The chief of clinical practice for ACOG, that's the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, telling CNN in a statement, quote, "There is no clear evidence that proves a direct relationship between the prudent use of acetaminophen during pregnancy and fetal developmental issues." CNN.
Okay, let's stop it right there. Okay, so this statement comes basically from the medical establishment who are in cahoots with the pharmaceutical establishment in operating their bank, their empire of medication subscriptions. So they have put up the walls and tried to protect their industry and their bank. And so really, and the media is propping up their statement. Why? They have a clear incentive and motivation to continue to sell these products for financial gain. The Trump administration isn't saying there's clear evidence. They're saying there's an association and there's a possible risk of increasing the chances of having a child with autism by using this. And that's good information. And yet these people are pushing back. Trump has also said that if you have high fever, definitely use it. But these people don't want any pressure on their medical advice or pharmaceutical products. We'll leave it at that. Okay, let's get on to the USA putting 100% tariff on pharmaceuticals entering the country.
US President Donald Trump has announced 100% tariffs on pharmaceutical imports. The steep tariffs are set to be placed on branded or patented products unless that pharmaceutical company is building a manufacturing plant in the US. The tariffs are expected to come into force on the 1st of October. Well, Australian pharmaceutical exports to the US were valued at $2.2 billion last year. American medical giants had lobbied for the tariff, citing Australia's pharmaceutical benefits scheme, which sees the government negotiate cheaper prices for medicines for Australians. Donald Trump says the new tariffs will help strengthen America's economy.
We're doing well. Because of tariffs, we're doing unbelievable. We're making more money than we ever have made. And by the way, we're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, just to get off the subject for a second, we're going to take some of that tariff money that we made, we're going to give it to our farmers, who are, for a little while, going to be hurt until it kicks in. The tariffs kick into their benefit. So we're going to make sure that our farmers are in great shape, because we're taking in a lot of.
So Trump is doing this tariff on pharmaceuticals into their country to put Americans first, to incentivize pharmaceutical companies to manufacture and operate within the USA, and to eliminate their debt and to make life and prosperity better for the American people. It's called American First. It's what he ran on, and is actually what he's doing, which is very refreshing to see a politician who's doing what he says. So, and I think I don't think there's all that much medications coming from Australia into the US, and from the consumer's point of view, it probably goes up $1 or $2, and yet it hopefully brings in a lot more economic benefit with businesses and jobs. So it's just a smart way of looking after their own country, something that the Australian politicians need to take note of and put in policies that will strengthen the prosperity of the people who already live here, rather than giving us expensive energy, committing us to things that don't help us, just make us look good at the UN. You know what I'm talking about.
A lot of money.
Dr. Felicity Dean is a professor of trade law from the Queensland University of Technology, and she joins us now from Brisbane. Morning to you. We sort of knew that this was potentially coming. 100% though, pretty big.
It is. It's a very large tariff. I think it's the biggest one that he's announced.
There are exemptions. What do we know about them and how might they work?
Well, I want to just start by saying that there's not been an executive order on this yet, so the details are very hazy. I think an announcement on Truth Social really doesn't give us all of the details that we potentially need, certainly not the details you need to make some big financial decisions. However, they're basically saying that the exemptions will apply if a company has a manufacturing plant either under construction or about to break ground in the United States.
Who are we talking about here? Which companies will be affected?
Well, all companies that from all countries. This is not just applying to Australia, of course. If we're talking about Australia, then CSL are likely, they have the potential to be impacted, although I do believe that they do have some operations in the United States. So it will depend on the extent of that exemption.
So there you go. It might not even affect the pharmaceutical companies from Australia if they have some operations in the USA. So it's a good policy for America to bring more business activity and economic benefit to their country. And there are ways around it for these pharmaceutical companies if they want to avoid it. And this is not just targeting Australia, it's for all pharmaceutical products coming into the US.
But any foreign-made products will potentially be impacted here. So, coming from all nations, not just Australia.
Have we seen things like this before from President Trump? I mean, some people might call it going to an extreme of bribery, that you have to build in the US to sell in the US. Has it been happening before?
I think I referred to it as extortion, actually. So have we seen it before from the president? Well, we've seen it happening pretty much from day one, where he's been announcing tariffs, and the idea is to protect US businesses and operations. But
Whoa, hold on. The ABC reporter just accused Trump of bribery, and this lady mentioned the word extortion. That's completely erroneous. What Trump is doing is called policy. It's policy, and that's what the Australian government has, but need to use better for our own advantage. Trump is enacting a policy decision, which he thinks will outcome in a most beneficial result for his country, his people, putting Americans first. Policies are what politicians and civil society uses to change things. These should not be criticized. It's called policy. And to label it as bribery or extortion is just beyond the pale.
in actual fact, what these tariffs do in the US context, they have quite a dramatic impact on consumers over there. And when we're talking about pharmaceuticals and access to medicines, this is likely to have a very dramatic impact indeed.
Yeah, on the consumers there. What impact then would be anticipated on us here in Australia?
Hold up. So maybe a medication in America will go up by $1 or $2, and the consumers are therefore impacted. But that's a small impact on a lot of people for a potentially massive windfall gain for the government, more jobs, more revenue, better country, better opportunities for those people. So let's look at what the policy is really trying to achieve. And the cost is spread out over so many people, and it's probably $1 or $2. I don't know.
Well, you've got the businesses, of course, that export over there. They're likely going to have to increase their prices for consumers in the US. But in terms of access to medicines in Australia, this is not going to affect us whatsoever. The president cannot impose a tariff and expect any changes.
That's right. His policy isn't affecting people in other countries. It's not doing any harm to us as we go to the chemist or the doctor. So there's no need for the media to be scared of this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.